All right, so let's get into MIDI clips in Ableton 11. So I'm just going to highlight to create a MIDI clip, Command-Shift-M. Obviously use Control if you are using a PC. And then if we double click, you'll see that the clip view looks different and some parameters have been added. A lot of stuff is the same here, like our loop and start and end, position and length and that sort of thing, signature and groove. But now we have scale, so we can actually turn on a scale and choose a scale, let's say a D minor scale. And in blue, let's turn these off for now. And in blue, you'll see all the notes in the scale. So when you create your parts, you know that you're playing in the right scale. And if you want to only be able to play within the scale, you just click scale, and then anything that you hit is going to be in the correct scale when you're making a melody or something like that. Obviously, when you pick several notes, if you fold that, it's only going to show you the notes that you're playing. All right. So that is scale there, which is a really amazing feature. And it gives you so many different variations on each scale between major and minor scales and pretty much everything you can think of. So if you're not really well versed on music theory, this is definitely going to give you a great advantage. Next we have note here, and most of this is the same once again. We can double or half the time of our notes playing. I'll just give you a quick reminder. All right. So we've got this here. Now if we divide it after choosing all the notes, it's going to play it twice as fast, right? And if we duplicate it or times it, it's going to play at half the time. Like so. So that was available in other versions. But the new thing that's available is randomize. So we can now randomize the velocity that's played. So if we are, let me just, I'll just shorten these and I'll just pop in some random notes here. Now when I randomize, the velocity is, how hard a note is hit, which basically correlates to how loud a part it's going to play. So if I randomize this, well, it looks like what we're focusing on here is chance, which is really cool. So let's start with chance. With chance, this is what are the chances that this note's actually going to play? For example, this is set to 94%. This is now set to 79%, 62%, and this one's only 28%. So you could obviously set these manually, but by hitting randomize, you can randomize the chances of certain notes being played, which makes it, every time it loops, it actually plays a little bit differently. Right? So really cool stuff there. And every time you hit randomize, it would change that for you. So let's go back, make sure everything's played. And now we'll go to velocity, and we can randomize our velocity from 0 to 127. And we could also scale this back as well, so it doesn't randomize as strongly. But let's do a strong one just so you notice the different volumes that are happening here. So click that. All right, and if I hit it again, So you can get a lot of like really different variations really easily. And what you can actually do is you can record. I could take it in from this track here and record MIDI onto this track, and then all of the stuff that I'm doing and randomizing will be recorded, and then I can cut out the bits that I like. And I could even randomize chants as well. So we've got that going on there, and then I can just go ahead and hit record and play. Right, and let me just drag this out, pull it back. As you can see, it will give me everything I just recorded. And now I can, listen to this and find the parts that I like the best. All right, so now let's check out velocity and chants in Ableton 11 for drums. And in this example, we're going to just use some hi-hats to give an example of the type of dynamics that we can get. So first thing I'll do is let me just highlight all these. I'll just shorten this because we'll probably want to put some notes in between as well. But for now, we've got our 16th note. Just very straightforward, nothing going on, everything's the same velocity. So down here, let's see if I can raise this up. Yeah. There we go. Down here, we can choose what we want to randomize or choose what we want to work in. But let's start with randomize here with the velocity. So this number here is the amount of velocity change that you can give. So if I just have this on 1 and hit randomize, as you can see, you don't notice any change because it's so low. If you want a really wide range of velocity, you could go all the way up to 127. You hit randomize, and as you can see, you've got everything from 1 to 127. So now let's take a listen to what is created. I mean, that's a great rhythm right there. That's a really great groove. Let's try it again. Fun stuff. So that is really great, and you can obviously you could record this to another MIDI track. And so for example, we can go, let's see, in from straight hi-hats. I'll just hit record here, and then what we're going to do, let's make this just as an example, and loop 1 bar there. Then what I can do is I can just hit randomize throughout this to get a bunch of different patterns. All right, so now when we come here, you'll see all of these are saved, right? So we could find different sections that we like the dynamics of and use those in our track, kind of cut out the best parts. I like to do that sort of stuff when I'm using random, is use a random for, a decent amount of time, then cut out the good bits. So the next thing is the chants. So what I'm going to do here is let's highlight everything here. We'll get our velocities back to even, just for now. And now what we want to do is play with the chance that something's played, right? So we can randomize this. So I'm just going to use randomize instead of going through each one. And this is going to create a percentage from 0 to 100% of what is going to be played and what won't be played. So if we hit this, every time it loops through, we're going to get a different pattern playing. Let's randomize it again. And now we can also play a bit more with the dynamics here, the velocity. Great. So now what I'm going to do here is let's put in some 30-second notes. All right, this could be good fun here, so I'll just do that. All right, so let's say that we want to now take these 30 seconds and only affect these. So all the 16th notes we want to be 100%. So what I'm going to do, just by clicking the note, it'll basically select all of these notes, and then I can just turn all these up to 100% probability. And now I'm going to just hold Shift and click on each of the, well, let's undo those. There we go. Click on every other note, which is the 32nd. Like so. And now we can hit random and it'll just randomize those that we highlighted. So let's go ahead and let's do down 50%-ish. Okay, great. So now when we play this, some of these 30-second notes are going to happen and some aren't. So you get these little 30-second accents. All right, great. So let's turn this 100% and randomize. Now if we turn all these pretty low here, now there's going to be less chance of them playing. So it'll be mostly 16th notes with just some of those 30 seconds jumping in. Cool stuff. And then we could come here and randomize the velocity a little bit more. Let's do something like this. Very cool. So there we go. Oh, actually, let's highlight all of this and then randomize so that we get the 16th notes in there as well. A little more dynamics. So really interesting stuff, just using the randomize and some hi-hats. I think this is great for giving drums more dynamics, as well as, you know, you could put little ghost notes and things like that in your kick drums and your snares and stuff where they just happen randomly every once in a while. And I think it'll just give a much more organic feel, a little bit more of a live vibe. So that's basically how I approach that with drums. And then if we come over here, we've got, this is all pretty much standard, like what we're familiar with. It just looks a little bit different, but we've got our link and unlinked. And then obviously we have all of our different parameters that we can set envelopes for all the different effects and stuff. So for example, if I come into the glue compressor, we of course have all the available options for that particular effect. If I come into reverb, once again, we've got all the different parameters for that as well. So nothing's really changed here, it just looks different. And then over here we have note expression. And this is going to allow us to express for example, pitch bends and things like that on individual notes within a chord. So I'll show you that in a different video. But those are the new features there. And then over here, as you can see, we've got slide, pressure, velocity, and R velocity. Those are the new clip features on Ableton 11.